I've never done anything to you but be there for you.
Tashira Simmons, the wife of the late DMX, has often been subjected to brutal criticism from the public. A lot of people couldn't understand why she chose to stay with the rapper in a marriage that was so clearly dysfunctional. She was accused of being a fool and only sticking with DMX because of a love for money. The online world has used some pretty unkind words to describe Tashira, and after hearing her side of the story and how much she had to put up with as DMX's wife, the way she has been treated suddenly looked totally unfair. Several years ago, she revealed some of the shocking details of her marriage in an interview with Vibe magazine. By this point, she and DMX had been living separately for years. However, it took her a long time to officially announce the news of their split, only doing so a couple of weeks before her interview. Tashira revealed that she had spent that time trying to establish her own identity following the breakdown of her marriage. In her words, she described DMX as a substance addict, cheating husband. Her experience had motivated her to write a memoir. She told Vibe that she believed it was now her calling to inspire other people who were living through similar hardships as her. As well as writing a book, she talked about her plans for her own reality show, and even a non-profit organization geared towards families who were dealing with substance abusing relatives. Despite the heavy subject matter of the book, Tashira made a surprising admission about her goal. Tashira said that she did not want her memoir, Strength of a Woman, to be a tell-all book that came out as a negative and tried to attack her ex. Instead, she described it as being about a person who was with someone that they loved. She stated that DMX was her first love and that she had been with him since they were both very young. They first got together when she was 18. DMX lived right down the block from Tashira when they were growing up. They were first introduced by her godsister's boyfriend, who would sometimes DJ for the rapper, and later that evening told Tashira that X liked her. She was shocked to find out that DMX had a crush on her, but the two immediately clicked. However, she went on to add that her first love soon got sucked up into the devil's playground. She got a front row seat to the pitfalls that DMX stumbled into after finding success as an artist. While DMX spiraled out of control, Tashira said that she was able to see it all happen with a clear head. This was because despite her husband's wild lifestyle, she herself never drank or smoked. She explained how sad it was to see someone that she loved so much get sucked into doing things that were the opposite of what he believed in. Although he already had a pretty checkered past, getting with Tashira seemed to have helped DMX to settle down. She said that he had been inspired to see Trisha take on a mothering role for her siblings, and that before long, she was also dedicated to being there for him. Although Tashira recognized that DMX was something of a street dude and even described him as a bully, she believed that he had a good heart, and she automatically took to him after hearing his story. Like her, DMX had a difficult upbringing. His mother frequently put him into homes, which Tashira really resonated with. Tashira revealed in her interview that her mother had abandoned her as a child. This helped her to empathize with DMX, and she came to believe that he was really misunderstood by a lot of people. She explained that when he shared his personal story with the public in his own book, he left out a lot of stuff. After being together for a staggering 20 years, Tashira didn't think it was possible for her to write a book without DMX featuring heavily in it. And although they had been living separately, she felt they had become more than just husband and wife, and that they were actually best friends. Despite everything that happened between them, Tashira was only sorry to hear about DMX's personal struggle, as she saw him as someone that came from nothing and really made it, but then got caught up in the industry. She stated that it took a certain kind of woman to be able to even be with someone in DMX's industry, and that it took a lot of strength and security, but eventually even Tashira's strength was shattered after the way DMX behaved during their marriage. On VH1's show Behind the Music, Tashira hinted that a reason for her finally leaving DMX was his constant cheating. She said that he had at least 4 other children outside of their marriage without her knowledge. Tashira only found out about one of these kids after it was all over the news, which must have been a pretty devastating time in her life. Despite this, she said that she still wanted to make it work with her husband, but as the affairs piled up and OTP of DMX's increasing substance abuse, Tashira couldn't take it anymore. She felt like she was being taken for granted and finally decided to leave, but honestly, most of us were only surprised that she had not made this decision sooner. During her Vibe interview, Tashira was asked if her mother abandoning her had affected her self-esteem. self-esteem, and if that could be a possible reason why she stayed with DMX for so long. But Tashira dismissed the suggestion, saying that she was always the one trying to build other people's self-esteem up. She did not consider herself one of those women who couldn't be alone, and it was actually DMX who struggled with loneliness. She even wondered if that was why DMX was initially attracted to her, as she was a challenge to him. She had an alternative explanation for why she stuck by his side through so many crazy situations. Tashira believed that she just really thought she could save him, but she later realized that there was nothing she could do for him and that it was too big of a job. The whole time Tashira was aware that a lot of people were criticizing her for sticking with her husband. At first, it used to bother her a lot, but then she would look at other relationships around her and realize that a lot of her critics were in much worse situations than her. However, when she finally did leave DMX, she made the decision to start living for herself for the first time, and she stopped letting everyone's opinions bother her, and she knew that she was the only person who had to deal with her situation every day, and she couldn't expect anyone else to understand. Shockingly, even after everything she'd been through, Tashira refused to rule out the idea that she might one day get back together with DMX. She said that she didn't know, but that she would never say never. But she also admitted that she was in such a good place after leaving him that she didn't really see it, even though they didn't get divorced. Finally, Tashira was asked a critical question. She was asked what she would change about her relationship with DMX, and her answer was pretty heartbreaking. She said that she thought that they would still be together if DMX had never got a record deal. Even though DMX has now sadly passed away, Tashira has continued to deal with the fallout of the mistakes he made during the marriage. After his passing, the rapper's estate became the subject of a messy legal battle. DMX left no will behind regarding his estate, which was actually estimated to be made up of millions of dollars worth of debt. This was brought about by DMX's trouble with the IRS, but also his multiple affairs while married to Tashira. In total, it was reported that he fathered up to 17 kids from 11 mothers. Although Tashira was appointed as the estate's administrator, she had a real fight on her hands, as so many people came forward making a claim to the rapper's publishing rights as his offspring. Despite still having to clean up after DMX to this day, Tashira has only wanted to keep positive about her situation, and honestly, in the face of all the hardship and difficult relationships she has dealt with in her life, this was pretty inspirational. But what do you guys think? Do you judge Tashira for giving her husband so many chances? Let me know in the comments below.